right. Yeah. And I'll do the little themey thing, and then off we go. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to The Instance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Instance. This is The Instance, episode 386 for the 17th of October, 2014. I'm Scott Johnson.
386. That's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, right? I know.
That's almost an excessive number.
It's a lot.
We should just wait till we get to 400, and then we'll just call it a day.
Well, let's see. The show started 06 January. Let's see. So this January will be, what is that?
That would be
8 years?
9 years.
9 years. 9?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So we're a year behind WoW.
Oh my gosh.
I like how, you kind of waited. You thought, like, how many million subscribers it got? Yeah, go on then. I'll do a podcast about it now.
Well, it was, here, I've said the genesis of the show before, but I started it originally because nothing else was doing it for me. I would listen to what was existing at the time. It was like 4 shows existed. There wasn't much. And none of them were the kind of show I wanted to hear. So I thought, well, how about I make one that I want to hear? And then the rest is history. Well, and also part of it is a lesson I learned then that I should have learned with other shows is sometimes you do want to wait to see how good or how long the legs of that game are going to be before you dedicate a huge amount of time to it.
I guess so, exactly. I think, but then, you've got the Diablo show.
That's going. But that
with seasons.
Sure, but that came after what? A year. Well, not until the patch, really, because until the patch, I didn't feel like it was worthy of a show, and now I totally do.
Up until that point, you were still on the fence.
Yeah.
But now Blizzard can kind of be quite happy that they've managed to create a franchise worthy of your time.
Of my time, yeah.
Focus.
Because that's a hard call to make when you're me. No, I freaking love that game, so it's easy to throw a lot of guts at it, and we love WoW, so it's easy to do it here. And Dills is not here because he is,
his baseball team did very well.
Yeah,
congratulations to the baseball team.
Yeah, he is
their success.
I don't know a more hardcore, maybe Veronica, but no, I think even she gets paled a little bit by Dills. I don't know anyone who is into the San Francisco Giants as he is. And as a direct result, and sorry, Cardinals, you're on the losing end of this stick. He is one step closer to complete and utter ascension if they win the World Series. It'll be an interesting thing, and it's a huge deal over here. Probably not so much in the UK, but I don't know what's happening in cricket either.
It's really passed us by. So yeah, the latest cricket championships. Who knows?
Do those still take like 3 days to play or whatever, a cricket game?
Yeah, but you got to stop for tea, so it adds a lot of time to any match. I think if you broke any match up of any sporting event by saying like, okay, guys, well, let's have a timeout just so that everyone can go have some crumpets and cakes. I think it's a better world to live in. I think it's definitely one where people can really enjoy themselves that much more.
Really,
I think if esports can get to the point where they break for tea, I think that'd be fantastic. I'd love to see some really kind of high kind of APMs and stuff just get kind of get interrupted because sorry guys, tea's done.
Tea's done. Be like sips per second.
Cakes.
Yeah,
exactly. That would be brilliant. And adds a whole new meta to it because not only have you got to be good at the game, you've also got to be able to be good at the game after having a delicious cake and potentially feeling a little bit sleepy by that point.
BPM, biscuits per minute. You need that as well.
Biscuits per minute, I think, would be a fantastic metric to see. And you'd be like, this guy, his micros, some of the best out there in the game. But, when you look at this guy's biscuits per minute, his BPM is off the chart. I think that's the sort of thing that a lot of people would get a lot of enjoyment out of.
Sure, why not? This would be the thing. Exactly. So wait a minute, what you're saying is the thing that will finally push esports truly over the top.
Mainstream, exactly. That point where suddenly people understand, they're like, oh, hang on. So if this team wins, they get a break for biscuits and cake. Oh, wow. I get this. This is serious stuff. Yeah. I can see where people would find that an enjoyable thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm into your worldview. I like it. I like where it's headed. So there's a lot going on. There's a big patch this week, and it was an important one on Tuesday. We got the 6.0.2 patch, and since then some hot fixes and a few other tweaks. But essentially, it is the groundwork laid so that Warlords of Draenor, which comes out in less than a month. Oh no, less than a month by about 3 days. That thing will hit and be ready, and we've got all our systems, all our new talents, all our new changes, character models, some sort of questy things to do between now and then, although I'm already done twice with that. But there's also some raiding to be done and some heirlooms to get, and there's stuff to do. And we're going to talk a lot about that today as a result, I think. And you've been playing a lot, yes? Like a whole bunch with the patch, right?
Yeah. I've been playing far too much.
In fact, sadly. I think you're playing now, is what I think.
Playing right now. I just killed the Shah of whatever it was.
Now, this makes one of the Shahs. Now, this is actually something I want to bring up. You are doing a thing that WoW has had, I think, kind of introduced into the world of gaming, which was, and maybe it happened over time. It wasn't at launch. It wasn't in vanilla, maybe, but WoW has become a thing that you can do while you can do something else. And I mean this seriously.
I tell people that I do it while I do other things, right. Certainly. But yeah, you are correct. You can, in theory, multitask.
You can be on a podcast and play that game. You can watch television.
You're necessarily as good at the other thing you're doing or at WoW whilst you're, distracted. Yeah. But I certainly think that that's what makes WoW so dominant, I think, as well. When you look at games like WildStar that come along and say, like, we're going to be really hardcore and you've got to dodge and move and we're putting telegraphs on the floor and you have to move out of them all the time. I don't want to do that all the time. Yeah. I'm okay for raids doing that, but when I'm questing, I just kind of want to drift through, have a fun story experience. I want to have exciting gameplay, definitely, but exciting doesn't have to mean, 110% concentration.
Sure.
It can mean, this is an interesting story, or this is a cool game mode, or look how powerful I am at doing this thing over here. There's lots of ways to create excitement beyond just really pushing and testing skill. Yeah. So I think, WoW has that lovely balance of it being a very accessible title that, it has that almost perfect Blizzard mantra of, easy to play, hard to master.
Hard to master, sure.
And I think that's really where it comes out top.
It's funny. It's funny though, because I feel like there's different layers of that. So WoW is easily the easiest. And by the way, for those who are like, well, I want more of a constant balls to the wall challenge. There is certainly a segment of the gaming culture and even MMO culture that wants that, and that's great. You have alternatives to do that with, but one of their.
Then I was just chatting to some of the guys, and we were chatting about mythic raiding.
Yeah.
And basically what we were saying is that you have to dedicate your life to WoW. It has to be the only game you play if you want to play it at that level. And I think, there's certainly, if you're looking for a hardcore gaming experience, yes, of course it caters for that. But that's such a small proportion of the player base that it's really quite refreshing to see that Blizzard do put so much time and effort catering for that really high end.
Right. They want all sorts of entry points for different player types, and they continue to do that. Mythic is part of that. Certainly, this is true in games like Diablo. There are moments of you've got to focus on that damn game, but there are plenty of ways to play it where you don't need to as much, or you can more casually approach it. I would say it's true of almost all their games, but I will say this, having played a whole bunch of the post we're never going to wipe it again Heroes of the Storm beta alpha thing.
Oh, exactly.
That game is not one you can just sit around and dork off with. You got to keep going, man. You got to just keep at it.
Exactly. It's really weird. So I've been playing a lot of Heroes this week, and I previously haven't played that much because of it's going to be wiped.
Yeah,
and
same,
I thought, I
here.
don't want to level up and then have that all taken away and have to unlock it all again and learn a character only for it to change the next day I log in. And Heroes is now kind of getting to that point where they're saying, like, no, we're pretty happy. We understand what the game is now, I think. And we've got a roster of heroes that we're, again, pretty sure this is how this one's going to play. We might tune its damage output or its survivability or something like that, but this is probably where this character is going to be, to the point where they're confident enough to say, we're not going to look to wipe this game before it becomes full launch.
Yeah, they did this with Hearthstone and stuck to it as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Hearthstone, exactly. In Hearthstone, that really did encourage people to start opening more packs, because there was nothing more kind of tragic than opening 40 packs, getting 3 legendaries, and then actually after the wipe, you open those same 40 packs with the money that they kind of give you back to buy again.
Yeah.
And you get no legendaries. And you're just,
it sucks. It sucks.
I want the old one.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit also like playing on a a beta of WoW, and suddenly you get a legendary drop or an epic drop or something like that, and it's not on your live character. It can actually be weird how something so cool can be a detrimental thing for you to happen to you.
Yeah, and it's something that's very voluntary. I mean, nobody's making anybody beta test anything, but
no, exactly. It's a really massive first world problem. It's like, oh no,
yeah,
I got this really cool thing in this game that's not come out yet, and it just, I won't have it when it's actually officially. It's terrible. But I've managed to spend far too much money. Sorry, see Sam. Far too much money on heroes already, just because bundles, and they had all these bundles, and these bundles weren't going to be in the game anymore. So I thought, oh, actually, this is great value. I'm saving money, but I've spent upwards of, $150, $200 sort of worth of heroes just to kind of unlock them and get those guys.
Yeah.
And it's amazing already. Just, it took me quite a while to understand how that gameplay works and how it's not League of Legends. It's not Dota. It is a completely different gameplay experience. And I used to think that Blizzard used to use the term hero brawler just to kind of be a bit awkward and be Blizzard and just be like, oh, we don't want to say MOBA or compare it to these other genres. But the reality is that it truly is a hero brawler. It's all about your group of heroes taking down the other group of heroes. You've got to play the map mechanics. You've got to kind of get on board with that. But you don't, for example, have to push lanes as much. You don't have to farm creeps. You're not doing the kind of slow, stagnant bits of MOBAs. You are about, I'm going to try and complement and synergize with my other heroes on my team and try and either gank or just be, better than this other hero over there. And it's once you kind of get your head in that line, it is such a fun game. And it's amazing kind of how many hours I've already spent in there. And it was weird, actually. Even when the patch dropped, I was still playing heroes far more than I thought I would. Because I thought I'd be all patch all the time. But no, it's, Same
thing. I've kind of jumped between the two. And I had this thing I discussed on a different show, but I was talking about how weird it is to play WoW characters who, I mean, they're there for the fan service. They're there to look good. They're there to have signature moves that you remember Uther having or, whatever. And then they're all referential to actual WoW stuff. Or in the Diablo case, the Reaper of Souls pre-order gift you got with the
you got Valor and stuff.
Valor, she's in there. But it's weird because when you're in there, especially in the Diablo case, it's a 3/4 view perspective, just like in Diablo. It's a kind of very similar looking engine in a lot of ways, but you right clicks and left clicks are essentially swapped. How things function, like hitting W and then having to aim where you want it to go, and then hitting it and then clicking, like the whole the MOBA interface is all there. It really throws you for a loop if you're also actively playing those other games, especially Diablo, because the perspective's the same.
About, you were suffering with Valor in the Vault and stuff, and you're like, oh,
and again, a massive first world problem we're talking about here, but mechanically, it's weird.
I've been playing Raynor just because he's the guy you start with. He's quite easy. He's a nice range class, and I think range class is a really so much easier at the moment, just because it gives you that extra second or so of buffer between getting hit and not. But it's once you get your eye in, once you understand how the game works, and it's so refreshing to see a game mode actually matter. Like, if you're playing, Dragon Knight and you don't control a shrine or hopefully both shrines, but if you don't stop that other team from getting that Dragon Knight, you are like really screwed. That's a beastly character that's going to waltz through. And equally, if you do manage to get the Dragon Knight, but someone on your team gets him who doesn't really know what they're doing, there's a big difference between that and someone who does, and playing that character well. But in the rest of the game, if you've got a guy on your team that doesn't really know what they're doing, it's not the end of the world. It can make a big difference if it's 5-on-4, for example, and he's up on the top lane just killing creeps. But otherwise, it feels a more inclusive game, something a little bit more open. And I mean, it's a tech alpha at the moment. It's quite a small player base. I think you're probably looking at 4,000-5,000 people playing.
Probably,
it's not
yeah.
very many.
Yeah.
But what
it's misleading because the niceness of people, I worry, is going to go away when it becomes a full
I've already
free-to-play
played
game.
with like Russian guys that I don't know what they're saying, who've been very angry at me for being a massive noob. And I was like, oh my god, this is just like Dota 2.
Yeah.
But even then, it's a really fun experience, and I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy it. It just you just need to kind of wait, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're not in, it's honestly, it does feel like the fan service is definitely there.
Oh gosh, yes.
And
holy crap.
The gameplay, certainly, you can.
It's really fun, and I hate MOBAs, so I don't know what that says. And some people, the snarky among us, would say, "Well, that's because it's MOBA for babies or some bullcrap like that."
I mean, the thing is like Lewis here. He plays Dota 2 till like 3 a.m, pretty much every day. He loves it. He lives it.
Yeah.
And doesn't like heroes. He thinks that there's not enough depth to it.
Yeah.
But he equally hasn't played any of the like hard heroes.
Yeah.
And when you see some of the character classes in there, and how kind of amazingly difficult they are to play well, all of a sudden you can start seeing how there is a game for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're not that into MOBAs, or you don't think that you're that responsive and reactive, you can still be a really useful member of the team with some of the easier to play heroes, and they'll allow you to kind of get stuck in. You'll get a couple of kills, maybe a few assists, but ultimately be a benefit to your team. And I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's good. It's strong. It's I can't wait till more people can play it. And the WoW component is nice. It's just nice to be able to see these characters and play with these people, and just see this weird idea that you wander over in the middle of a map with the Lich King and face off with a siege tank. Is there any weirder ass thing?
Hammer's a weird one. Yeah.
You're a siege freaking tank. Or Asmodan comes around with his ringed nipples and kills Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. And then exactly. And then you got the witch doctor suddenly like trapping people in a wall of demons and it's
amazing. It's amazing.
It's brilliant. It's crazy.
And by the way, I'm just kicking A with I just seem to be dominating in the matches I'm playing with Tyrael. He's just great.
Really?
Oh, he's great. And I'm not even a Melee fan, but I love his stuff. He's just awesome. Kicking butt with Tyrael.
Tyrael's got that lovely charge. Mm-hmm. And the problem is that it's still in my head. He's still Tyrael.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for him just to mess it all up again.
And lay in the dirt and some rags and not remember who he is.
Second, I broke the soul stone again. Tyrael, you dick.
My stomach. What's wrong with my stomach?
Yeah, exactly.
And if they don't put Kane in there, then they're making a huge mistake, because I will buy him point blank.
Kane would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh!
Just identify a can of whoop ass. It'd be some good fun for the whole family.
That's really good stuff. All right, well, let's dive into the news. There's so much WoW patch talk. Let's get into it right here.
Big news of the week.
All right. The big news of the week brought to you by DoghouseSystems.com. With their amazing Blizzard systems, you can still get those by going to DoghouseSystems.com/Blizzard. You can pick your Horde or your Alliance and go to town.
You can pick the Frog Pants logo.
Yeah, there's a Frog Pants logo.
That's sweet. It's nice.
Yeah, there's some other ones in there. It's pretty good stuff. You will not be dissatisfied. I freaking love my Doghouse system. It's my favorite gaming device in the house, and I play it all the time, and I can't wait to play more of it later. So do it now, DoghouseSystems.com. All right, the big patch came out. We played a ton of it. We've got a few thoughts and feelings about what we've seen. So there's this questline deal. I forgot what they called it.
The Iron Vanguard.
Yes, or
the Front. I don't know if they call it the Iron Front.
Iron Front, Iron Curtain, whatever. It doesn't matter, because basically it's this. There's word that the portal has gone blinky and something's going weird, and everybody's rushing to see what's going on. And Thrall's out there on the Horde side trying to help you figure out what's going on. I don't know what the Alliance players are seeing. Are they seeing the same? Or are they talking to other people? Or I don't know.
Alliance have Murad.
Great.
Murad.
Love
and
Murad.
He's like, champion. I don't know why he sounds Jamaican now.
What is up with that?
He's Russian.
Yeah. You made him a troll all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what happened. Right? He's a Vindicator Murad. He basically sends you off to kill some orcs.
Yeah.
And then you take back Netherguard Keep, and you do that by planting flags, and Stormwind troops kind of come in there and just start blowing people up, and you're like, yeah, Alliance.
Have you done the Horde side as well? Because this sounds just like that so far.
Yes, it's the same.
Okay.
And then you kill the orc at the end.
Okay, so they haven't changed any of that. All
right. No. But then you go back and you, instead of going to Vol'jin, you go to King Varian Rin, and he goes, heroes, good job.
Yeah.
Here's a 520 trinket. It's epic. And you're like, oh, amazing. Thank you.
Hold on a second. You guys got a trinket. We got a pet.
Yeah, no, you get the pet as well, the little star.
Oh, you get the star as well? I didn't get the trinket.
You didn't get a 520 trinket?
Okay, now this explains it, because there is a lot of talk on the forums right now about bugs where people are not getting all of their rewards. Did you see this? I don't know if you saw this. Yeah, now I thought to myself, oh, well, assuming it was just the Iron Star I did get that, but...
No, you missed out on a epic.
Yeah, that's not my bags, dude.
520 trinket. I've got my Warlock, what did I get? It's called Bloodcaster's Charm.
And I did it twice. I took my mage through there and my hunter, and neither got the trinket. No.
Oh, that's strange.
I got the star on both.
You get a choice at the end. So you didn't get. Sure, you didn't get one.
I'm gonna show you this little post. Did I put it in here? Maybe I put it in the notes. Ah, crap. I can find it. But basically,
but you're saying that it's not.
It's just not there. I mean, I checked because I thought, really, that's all we're getting? And I just cleaned out my bags and everything. I'm like, well, hold on. That's all? The whole thing was for this pet. Okay. And I just kept rolling. Then I read on the forums, let's see if I can find it. Blasted Lands quest rewards. Here we go. They're hot fixing something in. It's not in yet. Solutions on the way. Oh, here's the deal. So if you did the quest before the hot fix, which is what I guess I did, you may or may not have gotten all you were supposed to get, and they're saying on the boards there is a solution coming for this. I'm not at liberty to divulge anything, but we are working on something. So essentially, here's my guess is
something, and what it's going to be is you get to be war chief for the day.
Oh, just for a day.
Brilliant. And so they're like, we're really sorry about that, Scott. As compensation, Vol'jin's going to step down, and you get to be war chief for the day.
And I'm
because they realise that there's nothing bad can happen from just letting anyone be war chief.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Garrosh was a fantastic one.
Yeah, he was great. That was a super good decision. Good job on you, Thrall.
Sleek.
Way to pick.
Good job,
way to pick
Thrall.
him, buddy. No, the way
our own destiny.
Yeah.
The way I look at it. Well, I may, and keep in mind here, I did not look at this very hard. I was more interested in getting the content, getting through it, seeing it all, playing with the new specs and stuff. And I may be talking out of my ass, and maybe these are not the rewards I'm even talking about, but I am 100% sure, at least on my mage for sure, because I didn't get that picky with the hunter, but I did not get a trinket. No.
So it's crazy. I know Simon, he cannot hand in a quest to Vindicate Murad because he's in the wrong phase. And because of the massive heavy use of phasing, which we love because it's great, but somehow he managed to get pulled out of his phasing at some point.
Yeah.
And
they're bugs. It's a patch, It's the way these things work. My guess is he'll end up having to do that one over again. I remember phasing errors back in the day. They never seem to be able to be fixed unless I started the quest line over or something.
Well, no, that's the problem is that he's dropped the quest before, but can actually he's completed the quest like 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
but it's consistently like the Vindicate Murad is not where he needs to be. You can go to the other camp and pick up the quest from him, but you can't hand it back into him because he's not.
Oh, he's not. He doesn't appear where he needs to.
No,
appear.
Exactly. And I've tried, me being in the right phase and seeing the guy where it is and inviting him to a group and him joining us, but nothing works. So he's got a ticket at GM, but the average wait time for a GM post patch in the EU is 3 days and 20 hours.
Oh, good Zeus. That's insane.
So, yeah, it's crazy. But, I mean, at the same time, I managed to balls up some character transfers and had it so that I couldn't log in on any of my characters for one day. Because it was related to account issues and money, it actually let me use the callback system, which I'd never used before. And what happened there is basically you put in your phone number, you put in a ticket, and then Blizzard will phone you up to sort it out. And literally, I clicked send, and maybe 20 seconds, maybe 30 at a push, my phone rings, and it was, someone from Blizzard saying like, hi, we see you have this problem. How can we help? Sort of thing. And then, by the time that phone call was finished, like which took, 2-3 minutes, they'd fixed my account and I was ready to go. My character transfers went through and I was ready to, bring it to the Iron Horde. So it kind of comes down to gameplay stuff. They can't have the callback feature because it would just be spammed by idiots being like, this quest item's not there. And it'd be like, no, you're just in the wrong place. Or something to that extent.
Something's jacked. Yeah, who knows?
Exactly. But it was, it was nice to be able to just have that, near instant call from Blizzard to fix stuff.
Yeah, that stuff's cool. I would say that the other problem I have with this quest line is how short and easy it felt. Even with my kind of not very geared mage, I just ripped through that stuff. It was nothing.
So I also did it on a new boosted character because I really wanted to see what that was like, because it's got the new kind of drip feed skill system in there, and it was interesting. You're grounded, you can't fly until you complete the quest line, so you're forced to run around on the floor, which certainly made a difference. I think when you fly between quest objectives, and like even the first one where you just got to take down the tanks. And then you have to do is right click to interact with them. When you're on a flying mount, you're like, oh, that one's empty over there. Boop, drop down, destroy it, stuff like that. Yep. Whereas when you're on foot, it's not as easy. You've got to go via other quest mobs and stuff like that. And it felt a more immersive quest experience, definitely. So that was cool. And then as you complete quests, you get more abilities, and that helps kind of feed how you play your class, which again is really, really cool. But yeah, I would say it was short,
and it's just easy. Like it's just guys are made of paper, and I don't know why I expected more than that. I know questing is not hard in the game anymore,
but even then, I was hoping more sort of what we had on the build up to Lich King, where all of a sudden there were all these plagued crates started showing up around.
Oh yeah, that was great, right?
And then you started having undead people, and I was hoping, we had an undead invasion that every hour or half an hour, however long it was, suddenly Stormwind had giant skeletons running through it and stuff like that.
It was very world eventy, like it had a living quality to it.
This feels like a temporary quest zone, less so than a world event, and that probably makes sense logistically. It's a lot easier to say to players, hey, go to this zone and play in the zone as these zones are designed to be played in, rather than, hey, here's an already congested city, let's try and thrust all this extra content in there and make that even more unstable. So I get why they want to do it differently.
Plus, remember the people would get infected and didn't want to be, and they felt like there was a lot of controversy about that at the time.
There is a kind of forced level of gameplay, but again, that kind of, to me, feeds more and more into that story and makes it feel bigger and more real, and the whole shebang. So I think, but it's like I said, it's a fun quest experience. It's not too long. There's a bit at the beginning with Khadgar, and then that's it. And I was expecting, like, did I miss like a whole quest line? Is there another bit of quest near the Dark Portal or somewhere else?
That's what I thought too.
And it might just be that there is more to come, or it might be just that this is the opening chapter.
It's also a little weird, just from a lore perspective. Hey, brave warrior, thanks for doing that. We appreciate it. We know something's coming, so we'll let you know in November what we think, and you can go fight more. But in the meantime...
So you pre-order Warlords of Draenor.
Here's not even that. It's like, here's a little mini version of that terrible weapon of war that Garrosh is famous for. Have that.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yeah, this is pretty much a hand grenade.
Yeah,
have this as a toy.
It's like at the top. It's like in the middle. During the Battle of the Bulge, some general saying, "Thanks for your work today on the Eastern Front. By the way, here's a little plushy Hitler to take home with you." It's an odd thing, don't you think? It's a little weird. I mean,
put it like that, definitely. Yeah, I don't think I never thought of it as a plushy Hitler. I think that's the thing that I'm kind of taking away.
That's what it is, and in fact, today's episode will be titled. A plushy Hitler. I gotta write it down. Is she Hitler? All right. Now we've got a show title. All right. What else? Oh gosh. We talked about the plague thing in Wrath, which was pretty neat, and I felt like this could have been whatever. I'm not going to walk away and go, that's a deal breaker. I'm not playing this expansion, but it just felt a little meh.
Exactly. I mean, and there was a brief sort of cinematic-y type cutscene as all these troops start pouring out the Dark Portal, but it wasn't an actual cinematic, and it didn't actually feel that epic. It felt quite sort of weird. There seemed to be a lot of static or near static Iron Horde on the screen, and as is the reality when they just do a kind of they unlock the game camera and fly it over a zone. It's I don't know. It was cool. It was okay. It wasn't anywhere near reflective or as good as what's coming. Yeah. So I guess that's just.
Did you, as a lore lover of the game, like the bits of story that we're leading into? Did that feel good and right to you?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, there's certain elements to it that are cool in that you're starting to see the Iron Horde and their war machines, and like I said, seeing Khadgar for a bit is kind of it's really cool. It's kind of spoiled a little bit for me just because I've quested alongside him quite a bit in the beta, so it doesn't he's lost some of the sort of like, oh my god, that's Khadgar. It's still not really explained anywhere where Khadgar came from or where he was. Like, because of the model update, like our Khadgar was a super old looking man with an old man beard, and he lived in Shattrath. This Khadgar looks younger, and I don't know if that's purely just because the models are nicer now.
He's still got gray hair, but
still got gray hair, but he gets that at like Warcraft 2.
He looks like a 39-year-old tough dude,
He was a young guy, and then he got like artificially aged by closing the Dark Portal or doing something. I forget what it was. But I just don't know quite who this Khadgar is. Not that it really matters to anyone, but that's something where it is cool seeing him and to kind of get a feeling of stuff's happening, the world is evolving. But certainly I agree with you, like you get sent back to your faction leader and then there's nothing. And what would be better if they're like, okay, war's coming, server event, everyone has to donate 40,000 runecloth bandages, and we do it like the Gates of Anchorage or something like that. And each server, if they can reach the target set, they unlock a free mount for the characters on that server or something to that extent, and make it so that everyone gets it, so it's all good. But you kind of feel like it would be really fun to have something to work to. Now we've got this post-patch pre-expansion time. What are we doing with it? Are we going to be able to do other things? Currently, I'm spending my time. I haven't run the new Ubers yet. I want to have a chance. It's got item level 550 loot that's blues that's just obscenely powerful, and I've just been trying to kind of buy justice. What was previously like on a justice badge point stuff. From you can get item level 522 stuff for gold now if you're friendly with a Shadowpan offensive, which Shadowpan assault, which takes half an hour, if that. You just run the first wing of Throne of Thunder on LFR, and then you can just buy all this really cool high level gear that should hopefully make for easy questing and
just
stuff.
Give you a nice boost through through the content. Although, I mean, my expectation is the questing's not going to be hard. It never is now. I mean,
it's no, of course not. But it is just.
I mean, back in the day, it was hard, and I'm not pro or against this. I just think it was hard in vanilla.
When you look at
you
what
died a lot, I did. I mean, I never die questing now, but back in the day, you'd get in there and be like, oh, I'm overwhelmed with Zandalari freaking whoever's, and there's way too many of them. I got to be strategic about how I get into this camp and pick them off, and they're all even, under my level, but still, this is a challenge. That doesn't exist anymore. You just pop, in, out, done.
I think it is tougher, I think, in that, you can't fly in WoD, and so, you've got the added complexity of having to try and navigate the world filled with you
can't just drop down in the middle of it and do the thing and then get out. I mean, I remember that. I mean, that was the epitome of ridiculousness in Cataclysm because you could fly everywhere immediately, and that stuff just seemed so bonkers. It's like, well, what you just tear through a zone and never once feel like you really got a feel for the zone because you were in the air the whole time, or most of it, and you just never really got like the I don't know, the majesty of the cave or the majesty of the whatever, because you just pop down, grab your thing, and get out.
If I asked you to show me the route to your house on foot, and you'd only ever flown there, you'd be like, oh, I never knew any of this existed. What's this bit over here?
It's a completely different perspective. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the good or the bad or the whatever that is, but I'm and I know a lot of people are totally opposed to this, but I am all in on the forced ground thing of the initial introduction to Warlords, and I'm happy to do that. I don't have a problem with it.
You very quickly get used to it. I think that there's nothing too disorientating about it. You kind of quite quickly become used to the fact that, okay, cool, this is how this works. This is fun.
Yeah, no, it's good. Let's see what else we got. I was just a couple comments. So I didn't play with the Hunter a ton in the beta, although I did with a Beastmaster spec, but I didn't really mess around with my preferred spec, which is survival. It's always been survival. And
are you complaining about your lack of DPS?
No, although that's just definitely a problem.
Like hunters, I've seen hunters like struggling to get over like 9k.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad.
It's really bad. But I haven't raided with him yet, so I can't tell you how really poor I'm going to raid yet until Sunday when I raid again. But I can tell you that it just felt. It's weird. It's hard to explain. It's not that it was ever a hard rotation or a hard spec or anything like that, but the rotation felt like it had some complexity to it. Now it just feels real empty and short. Like I'm just bam, bam, bam. I have really 3 skills that matter, and it's just not. I know this isn't their intent, and things will get tweaked and changed, but it just feels very empty to me as a spec, and not as fun to do. Like the mechanics of doing it don't feel as fun as they used to. I will say that I feel exactly the opposite of that when it comes to my Frost Mage. Frost is fun as hell, and I didn't like it before, and I love it now, and I liked it on the PTR and the beta as well. But I think it's awesome. I just think that feels great. It's a very Vegas build. By that I mean you're pulling a lot of arms on a slot machine kind of thing because stuff's proccing constantly, but you never know when it's going to, and it's just a procky, unexpected, kind of erratic spec now, and I love it.
I can see how that would be.
I like it a lot.
That would be, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think I was I've been playing an Affliction Warlock, and I've been told that it's a newbie spec, but he's called Ben Affleck, so he has to be an Affliction Warlock. But then it got pointed out to me, Demonology is a really good spec, and he could be renamed to Matt Demon. And so I could go from Ben Affleck to Matt Demon, and then I could play a much better. And you're still keeping it in the. And I'm still keeping it in the family sort of thing. It's still the same sort of build, same sort of thing. Everyone could have a good time with that. Yeah. But it's a tough world.
Yeah,
these are the things that kind of keep you up at night. Sort of, you're wondering like, am I letting myself down? Am I letting my friends down? What's going on?
Yeah. I did try the new group finder bits, and that seems fine. It seems like a public calendar, really, is what it is.
Well, some of the stuff though. I mean, when you look at pre-made groups, there's the new heirloom, the smash and grab buff.
Yeah.
When you're on Garrosh, that guarantees you an heirloom drop. There's groups that are literally just like, yeah, we're on Garrosh, we need DPS. It's just like, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And you just literally jump in and away you go. You need to have the right item level, and
it's tricky because some of it's hard to tell on the descriptors when you're going to actually play, because some of it's like, we don't play till Tuesday, or see you later. These aren't like, not all of them are like, hey, hop in now, which is a little weird, don't you think? Like some of it's like set up to go at a specific time down the road, like a calendar would be.
Where are you seeing this?
Just a couple of the entries. Like some of them were like, we're doing this on Tuesday, sign up here. Now, I didn't do any of it, so maybe they're doing it wrong, and maybe that wouldn't work for what they're trying to do. Essentially, create a public calendar like you'd normally do in a guild. So maybe that just doesn't even function the way they think it does. But it wasn't just one; it was like, I don't know, half a dozen.
All of my stuff I'm seeing, at least as far as I understand it, is all live.
Yeah.
So
well, that's my understanding. I mean, my feeling was like, oh, this will just be live stuff, and I can hop in whenever, and they may be midway through this encounter, or they may be just getting ready to go, or whatever. But I saw somewhere there. I mean, I never joined any of these, but they were like, yeah, we're running the garage on Tuesday. Be there, or something. And so maybe that's just them being stupid with their description. I don't know, because there's no rule there. You can say whatever you want. You can say we're pinning Terpster down and putting a horse head up his butt.
You can report people for their descriptions.
Sure.
So you can report groups.
Well,
so
except that one. Leave that one. That one's
just
fine.
Make sure they report that.
No, that one's fine. That one's a good one.
Report that one.
No, keep that one up. No. Keep that up. No.
Keep it, but report it, and then ensure that it's deleted afterwards.
Well,
that's what I would recommend.
So anyway, I have not done enough with it to have an opinion, but it does seem
it's
like
weird, obviously, but at the same time you have AIE, so it's,
we kind of have our own
this pre-made one exactly for forever.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a really kind of fun, useful thing, especially for people out there who they don't want to run the whole of an instance. They're just looking for something, and then you actually find someone else is actually looking for that something as well.
Yeah,
this is really useful. We can have some real fun together, just enjoy each other's company,
and
at the same time benefit from each other's company
in
rich rewards and loot.
Right.
It's amazing.
That's
the
saying.
one thing that we haven't really talked about post-patch is obviously the new character models.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Well, I mean, you knew and I'd seen them in beta and stuff, so it's kind of like not anticlimactic, but we knew that was coming. A lot of people, though, this was a fun perspective because we'd seen them in game, so we knew. But there were tons of people with no beta access. They never got to see it, and you kind of forgot about that. So when it hit day of the patch or night of the patch for a lot of these tweets and things, people freaking out like, "Oh man, I love my new whatever," and I had no idea. And you forgot that people hadn't seen this yet. Like this has all just been smoke and mirrors to them.
I hadn't been able to copy over any of my characters to the PTR, so and the beta and stuff. So I was always kind of just approximating my character. But there is a whole thing about logging in, seeing your dude looking amazing. My Tauren just looks just so good, just so ridiculously good that I could not be happy about how he looks. Ben Affleck, he used to look a lot like Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
I've now made him look a little bit more kind of grizzled and grey and demonic.
Yeah.
But that's the cool thing. Like the barbershop, you can change the face and you can mix around. You can't change skin colors or anything like that. So if you set a different skin color, you still can't change that. That's who your character is.
Well, which is part of why everyone flipped out about that racist thing.
For a recustomization, can't you?
Yeah, you can. You can do that. But okay, so let's just get right into that story. So one of the things that happened post patch was, and this is why sometimes the internet makes me want to kick it in the nuts. I immediately got like 5 tweets that had language similar to this. What nobody's talking about Blizzard's racist move to remove black skin tone in the game. That was his tweet to me.
Wow.
Now, what it turned out to be was a bug where if you had a dark-skinned human, for example, it was off. It looked more, I don't know, maybe Polynesian or, it wasn't quite as dark as it was before. And the Worgans were all jacked up. Like something was all janked up with the Worgan coloring. And Blizzard came out pretty quickly.
Because the Worgans haven't been redone, have they?
No, they have not. They have not.
But the human side of them has.
They have, yeah. So they came out with this thing saying, that's a bug and that'll be fixed. But this idea that everybody leaped to the first thing they could, which was Blizzard is a secret racist organization trying to eliminate color from their game.
Yeah.
I mean, go find your chemtrails somewhere else, man, because that's redonkulous.
I would say Blizzard is obviously owned by Activision. All they care about is the money, and they don't care the color of your skin as long as your wallet is fat.
Yeah.
So do not panic.
Yeah.
Ethnicities of the world, Blizzard loves you as long as you're rich. Once you have no money, you're dead to them, though.
They are moneyist, is what they are.
They are moneyists, as I've discovered with Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, yeah, they are. Good lord,
so expensive, Scott.
It is, and even though they've got like 66% off, I'm like, I just spent.
Well, there's not anymore. That's the thing. So the load of the bundles, there's only like 4 bundles on there now, and when I bought them, there was like 8, and that was the problem, really, Scott. Is that there's a lot of the time I spent a lot of money out of this belief that I was going to save myself all this money in the future.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Don't forget, if you own Reaper Souls and you pre-ordered it, when you did originally, and now you get into that beta or this technical alpha, you will get a Demon Hunter lady for free. She's
so you
pretty
save
good.
Yourself like $5 or something like that.
Yeah,
Forget how much they are.
She's pretty good. She's pretty good.
Oh yeah, valid,
I like
definitely.
her. Yeah, she's got some sweet things happening. All right.
So people thought Blizzard was racist.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
What a shock!
Dude.
What a shock!
It's so dumb though. Like within 5 minutes, everybody wants to make this a controversy.
They put out a public statement saying, "Look, we're really sorry, Chris Robinson. We didn't know that he was a massive racist. As art lead, we trusted him to really look after that, but sadly, it looks like he was using World of Warcraft as a vehicle to try and establish white supremacy. For that, we apologize, and we hope that we can earn your trust in the future."
I got an email from somebody to my main email account claiming that he believed, and I don't have any reason to think he was kidding, but it sounded like a joke.
I'm unsubbing from the show, though, now, Scott. Just FYI.
He believed that Rob Pardo's departure was because he saw these things happening internally and didn't feel good about it and left the company because they thought there were racial undertones coming out of the company, and that this was just further proof of that this was just an unsubtle move that they've slowly been trying to make over the years to eliminate oh my gosh, I can't even freaking get my head around why people think this way. I can't deal with it.
I can understand Pardo, though, just being, he is, I can see him being this kind of, sort of this defender of the faith, and just putting himself out there for the good of humanity. Wow, it is, isn't it? Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Everyone, thank you, everyone. Thank you for never letting us down. Wow.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks, everyone. It's been a really good experience. All right, let's move on to... we talked about the Heirloom, so yeah, get on that. Until the launch of WOD, they say on their forums, Garrosh got an iron-tight grip on your Heirloom. It's time to smash and grab, beginning Tuesday, October 14th.
The first time you kill them on each difficulty and on each character, I believe.
Yep.
So
they drop immediately. You just get it.
If you've got a... and it depends, I think, on your spec. I think, or at least everyone I know has been really lucky. But for example, if you do it, you might get the staff if you're a caster, the one-handed sword if you're a tank, or two-handed axe if you're a melee DPS, or something to that extent. So there's a lot of reasons to jump on board and get involved. So yeah, I think it's a great time. Equally, there's different item levels depending on the difficulty you do it on. So if you manage to do it on Mythic, and well done.
Yeah.
Seriously, well done if you do. You get item level, I think it's 600 or something ridiculous. It's just phenomenally amazing heirloom weapon. So I'm really glad to see it, because like I said, now you can log in and you can buy item level 522 gear for gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. But it's nice to see that there's also ways that you can get some really cool high-end gear not for gold.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Right, it seems easy.
On top of that, the one thing to say is all the old transmog stuff, all the old kind of Cataclysm, gear that you used to have to buy with Valor points, you can now buy with gold. Yeah. So if you want a transmog, there's never been a better time.
No, in fact, transmog a Rama right now in the game. And now, before the thing's even out, go do it now. And even better, check this out. You can get the whole freaking wad of game minus WOD for $20 now. Unlock the Mysteries of Pandaria beginning today, October 14th, which was 3 days ago. Players are now able to get the original World of Warcraft, The Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, and Mists of Pandaria all together, $19.99, available now through the Battle.net shop. That's just insanely cheap, really, if you think about the volume of content there. And I also think this is the cheapest it's been. I mean, well, clearly it is, because it's the most expansions under the same roof.
Yeah, exactly. You've been able to get the battle chest for $5 before and stuff like that, and then an expansion for $10, so kind of $15 all in. Mm-hmm. But I think if you haven't played WoW to the point where you don't own any of it, with Warlords of Draenor, you get your boost, and you might as well get, you need all the other content for that to work. It's never been a better time.
You could go to a kid. I mean, if a kid is really interested in the game and just never could afford it, his parents wouldn't let him. But now he's 17 and his grades are good, and now he can do it. And he's got a job. He's flipping burgers somewhere, and he's like, you know what? For $20, I can finally get into this game I've been admiring. So
yeah, why not?
Done. Yeah. Then you're screwed in November, but whatever.
Do it.
Not screwed, but you won't be able to play WOD. Let's see.
Buy it.
This is a great tweet. We got a tweet that came to Don Adams, who replied to it, and here's the tweet. It says, Garrosh's goals have been the Horde's goals for half the lifetime of this game. Meaning, how come the Horde suddenly, flipping on Garrosh, even though Garrosh is basically playing the tune that the Horde has always played up to a certain point. And the answer came back, Horde is divided. Even players are split between Garrosh's goals of conquest and Thrall's goals of peace, says Don Adams. Now, I brought this in here and put it in the news because as a lore nerd like you...
we prefer the term just enthusiast.
Yeah.
A lore enthusiast.
Yeah. Let's see, a lore... Yeah, I think enthusiast is a good word. Or enthusiast, as you say. Here's what I would say about this. I don't want a game or a story that is two-dimensional and doesn't give itself room to make changes or to be nuanced. What they're doing now with this conflict between the bloodlusty Horde dominate everything mentality of the traditional Horde and having dissension within that structure is fascinating to me and an interesting story twist. Why would anyone want it to be Garrosh's way all the time, 24/7? Why would you want that?
No, exactly. You have undertones in the Alliance, like the whole Defias Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
It was all this whole thing where like people were like, King Varian Rin isn't the right guy to lead us. He welches on his deals and is a douche.
Yeah.
And they had this whole kind of, series in the comics where, Lagos, and you find out that actually Varian Rin was, subject to a lot of draconian influence and evils and, but there were kind of fractures and fragmented alliance.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite cool to see that people have those nuances kind of a little bit more less nuanced, I guess, and more actually just this is what's going on with the Horde, and you can quite obviously see, oh, I get this. So Garrosh wants it to be this way, and certain orcs feel that way, and other people want it to be this other way. I mean, the Kor'kron that were kind of like the SS in Nazi Germany, in that they were out there doing the deeds and probably some of the more atrocious stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you end up reading War Crimes, you see how there's like references to Garrosh's implications and what he should be responsible for versus what the atrocities of the Kor'kron acting under his kind of orders or their interpretations of his orders should be subject to. And I just think it's really interesting to see that, Blizzard basically is raising the questions of what is right in war and, what is acceptable, what isn't acceptable. I think if you were to have a leader, if you're a president of the United States, for example, would you want him to act like Garrosh or would you want him to act like Thrall? And then even then within the United States, would you expect everyone to follow that person or like and agree with that person? I mean, even with the presidents and prime ministers and leaders we have, you'll never get the whole of your faction all agree with the way in which that leader goes.
Ever.
Hopefully, they represent a majority or sometimes just, more than the other minorities.
Sure.
That I think, it's great to see Blizzard doesn't make this black and white world.
Yeah, I don't
It's
want
got
that.
these shades of grey. It's got, it's like what makes Game of Thrones such an interesting book. Firstly, you don't know who's going to die. Probably the guy you like on the next page. Secondly, it gets pretty steamy at times. You might see,
right?
might get described a little bit about a boobie, and or a nipple.
Yeah.
And so you got all of that, but at the same time, this whole political backstabbing about alliances and supporters and someone who is trying to manipulate others for their own ends.
Yeah, or good people having to make very hard decisions that put them in the position of making very bad choices because what other choice do they have? Like these kinds of things are interesting, and having these black and white two-dimensional villains versus heroes scenario works to some degree on some level. Maybe it worked for me when I was 10, but I want a nuanced story. And what they're going through right now is nothing less than a cultural shift in the Horde, and what that even means to be Horde, and what is it? Who are they? They don't even have an orc in charge right now. Like it's just
exactly. I mean, and I think the Horde is so interesting when you look at Sylvanas and you look at the just the Forsaken as a whole. Like, what's going on with them? What has been going on with them? What is next? I mean, it's such an interesting time to be a member of the Horde. The Alliance, if you look at the kind of the political turmoil the dwarfs had, didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
A lot of people just logged in and it's like, Magni's gone. There's now these 3 other dudes and a red shirt guy. I feel like the Horde has had better political struggles, more translated at least. People kind of have had a chance and an opportunity to enjoy so much more of all of those Horde struggles that I think, with this method going forward, we've got this fantastic new Draenor in the shape of Yarel.
Yeah.
And what she's going to do and how she's going to act, she's going to be very different to how other characters have previously acted. And I think that would be really fun to see what happens in future expansions. I think there's so many good things to come from WoW.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time.
It's entirely exciting. Go get your damn chopper if you're Horde. Go buy your other one if you're Alliance.
If you're Alliance, I mean, Struth, it is expensive. I still don't have enough money yet, but I will.
It looks good though, doesn't it?
I've yet to see one.
I saw one. I think it looked great. It looked great in game. I was surprised because I think the real life one looked like crap.
Do a mount special, a slash mount special on your Horde one, and you do a wheelie, not a wheelie, a donut.
Oh, no way. I've not seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so when you mount up, just type in slash mount special, all one word, and enjoy your sweet.
I'll tell you what's frustrating on that mount, because you look amazing on it, and by the way, Goblins look insanely amazing on it. That is like their bike. But I when I was doing that quest, I was kind of irritated because I wanted to be on it the whole time, but then kept going, well, I'd rather fly because I can just get over there real fast. I mean, flying really does make things so convenient that you're willing to even give up the experience of riding on this brand new, splashy, awesome,
Well, that's the point almost.
chopper.
Like, is at what point do you then mount up on anything else? And what is the point of the game? What's the point of all the other mounts?
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure, why couldn't? But okay, so here's something they changed in this patch. They also made it so most flying mounts, most not all, but most of the flying mounts are now ground mounts. Also, there were a few that weren't still as legacy mounts, and now they're pretty much all that. Why it'd be cool if the other way happened and the Azeroth chopper could be flying. That'd be all right? Just spring some mechanical wings.
Why not? Exactly. Yeah. Why not? Maybe the team. Maybe because they were angry about there not being any women on there, maybe some ladies invent some helicopter wings and they do it as another series.
Maybe.
That'd be good.
Maybe. One day we will see, but today is not that day. All right. We got some calls to rip through real quick, and they begin with this little thing here we do.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Why, it's the town crier.
All right, Town Crier, that means time for us to read your emails. In this case, we're going to do a bunch of calls for time, and they come to us at 206-202-3969. That's 206-3969, or sorry, 206-202-3969, or your attachments and emails can come to the instance at gmail.com. All of this brought to you by the Texas Beard Company. You get a beard occasionally. You get a little
Beard
goatee
company?
going. Yeah, you get a little beard.
Oh, amazing.
Do you have a beard?
I have a beard. Yeah.
You get a little goatee thing, 90s deal.
Well, let's not judge it. Okay,
All right.
beard is a beard.
Okay,
I don't come
okay.
and say like, oh, nice pants, Scott. Well, I'd say they're more khakis than pants, but I think that it's like no, okay.
Pants.
Whether we're calling it a beard or it's clean shaven,
Right.
And I think that beards are beautiful things.
Right.
I think there's a fantastic sort of rock group, I call them, but kind of pretty much Tenacious D, called The Beards.
Yeah.
And they have been going now for near enough a decade and released, I think, 12 or so albums.
Sure.
With 10 tracks an album, all about beards.
Fantastic,
and they are fantastic. So I fully recommend those.
Yeah. Well, and we got the world of, we live in a world where 38 Special and ZZ Top exist, and, fantastic beards all around, these guys. How would they take care of it? Well, here's what they should do. They should go to texasbeard.com, get all natural man-made beard care products. That's right. You heard me right.
Man-made. That's right. We know what to do with beards.
If you're Gandalf style or just starting out, you'll be much less itchy, and much softer with 4 manly scents.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Such as kerosene and
Better than
freshly
that.
chopped lumber.
Better than that, even. If you go to BlizzCon, chances are you're going to see a whole lot of beards, and why not be one of the better beards
Why not
there?
have one with the nicely groomed beards?
Yeah.
And all the ladies saying like, "Oh, I can't resist this man. I do not know why." And then they realize it's the beard.
There's something about him.
Yeah.
Use For the Horde at checkout.
Again, one of the lyrics.
Yeah.
It's just come to memory. Is you're considering having sex with a bearded man, the feel of his whiskers as he brushes your mammary glands.
What?
There's
terrible.
some brilliant lyrics. Fully recommended to everyone.
All right, great. Except for a lot of you. All right. Also, For the Horde at checkout. 20% off your entire order and free shipping in the U.S. over $25.
Oh, there you go. Amazing.
That's texasbeard.com. Go check them out. Those guys are awesome. I like what they're doing over there. Let's get to some calls. What is happening at BlizzCon?
Hi, guys. This is Prowess from the Chandra server, Gilman Wild Musical. Been listening since Kurt Schilling used to pop on. The reason why I'm calling is because this is the first time this year I'm going to be going to BlizzCon. My first visit to BlizzCon. And I wanted to know if you guys, being an extreme fanboy of the show, and Dill's your chicken show, too, I was just wondering if you guys did like a meet and greet sometime around the con. So if you could let me know, I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.
There are a number of specific ways you'll get to see us all. One is just in and around the show floor and all over the Hilton and just kind of all over the place. You'll be encouraged to find us.
So there's the AIE Guild Hall,
Yep.
where we do our annual, whenever BlizzCon's annual, that is, live podcast recording.
Correct.
Which is my favorite podcast we ever do.
It's awesome.
And we get in a nice big room. We have people sat around looking at us, able to correct us live.
Yeah.
I mean, the chat room can do it, but we just don't read it.
Yeah.
So we can't ignore
it's kind of standing room only in there, but that guild hall is kind of around all weekend. If you're part of the AIE guild or are just looking for me or Dills or Terpster or any of us, there's a good chance you might find us there. But this year there'll be other parties. There always is. So you'll see us at other gatherings. The World of Podcasts gathering I'll be at for sometime on Thursday. I'm trying to think outside of that. And then we're just sort of hanging around. But absolutely, you should find us. Is there a specific instance-only meet and greet planned? No.
No, we wouldn't ever have anything like that.
No.
That's
really expensive.
Yeah.
Even if it was just like meet up somewhere,
it's not open and accepting to all.
Yeah.
No, it's too much.
It's a lot of work, and we also we're there for a bunch of other reasons, and we're doing interviews during the day. There's a lot of other stuff going on, but you will see us at these things. We'll be around. I don't know if Curse doing a party this year or WoW Insider.
Twitch will be doing one. WoW Insider always do one. There'll be a lot of different events
around.
and stuff.
We'll be at those.
Really, just if you see us, come say hi.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Get pictures, hang out, shake hands, then wash your hands vigorously.
Tell us exactly any mistakes we make, because
I mean, my experience last year was overwhelming with how many people found us and talked to us, whereas 2011 was just less so. I don't know why that was. I mean, those were the 2 in a row BlizzCons, with 2012 being skipped by Blizzard, and it just was overwhelming last year. So I suspect we will be just as accessible, and you want to find us, please do, because that's what we're there for. That's primarily why I go, is to hobnob with the fans.
Mine's so to see all the games before they come out.
Yeah, that's one's good too. Also, I like what else do I like? I like
seeing Russell Brower.
Russell Brower is always good to see. We hope now. So last year we had
that's a bearded man.
Yeah. Gosh, I should bring him some Texas Beard Company stuff samples.
Yeah, exactly.
He will for sure. It'll be good to see him. Obviously, last year we had him and Greg Street before Greg left on the show with us, and I am secretly trying to get a very special guest along with Russell if he'll have us again. On the show that night, it could be the most epic thing in the history of ever.
Patrick Beja on the show soon. He's leaving Blizzard, isn't he?
Yeah. Let me tell you the 2 things I am sure are going to happen. Okay, at this BlizzCon.
Because Patrick's going to be at BlizzCon.
Yeah, he'll be there if he's willing. He'll come and talk on the show. That I feel like is a pretty strong thing. If this other person comes, the whole world may explode. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm pulling a Johnson here, but if this happens the way I'm planning, and if it doesn't, it's okay too. It'll still be an amazing episode.
Scott, I've sent you a message of my guess.
Yeah,
Am I right?
Let me see if you're right. Hold on a second. No.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now
I thought it was.
I'll give you the who I'm working on. Yes, you're next.
Oh,
one, yeah.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that'd be amazing. That'd be really cool.
It'd be unbelievable.
At the same time, I
yeah.
will point out there is a restraining order between myself and that person. So that may count against us.
Yeah.
We
And
may have an issue.
yeah. Look, Terpster's history with having his wiener out in strange times is not anything we like to talk about.
It happens, okay? And all I say is that, you got to embrace it, okay?
Yeah.
You can't fight sometimes.
Just don't touch it.
Just
right.
don't do that.
Anyway, look for us. We're happy to see everybody. All right, what's next here? Oh, the economy.
Hey guys, this is Dark Lorenzo from Airy Peak, representing Kazakh. I had a question. With the number crunch coming, do you think that the number crunch will transcend over into the economy, or do you have any information on what the economy might be doing? Are they changing? Are they about saying the same as far as the drops go? Thanks, guys. Love the show.
I don't think the crunch has any real impact on that, other than
no crunch is pure. Just I now crit for 2K and everyone calls me noob, whereas before I used to crit for 200K and everyone called me a noob.
Yeah.
So that's the number crunch.
The more drastic thing that's going to hit the economy is this combining of auction houses, don't you think? Because
exactly. So the auction house combination now of being able to have both of them is massively different, especially for underpop realms.
Yeah.
So if you were on Earth and Ring Alliance side before and you had AIE on the Horde side dominating, making it to the point that the Alliance didn't really want to play on that server because there's just too many Horde, the pop would be down and the auction house would be really hard to get anything from because of the nature of the auction house. Whereas now you share that same auction house system as all the Horde. In theory, you could trade currency between characters you have on Alliance and Horde. You'd have to pay auction house fees, but you could list, a troll sweat for 1 million gold and then buy it on your Horde character or vice versa. So it may change economy in terms of accessibility of funds, but because you're all buying from the same auction house, doesn't really make a difference. So yeah, it's interesting, but yeah, to date nothing's really changed.
It didn't squish the number of skins you'll get off a creature. It didn't squish the number of mining nodes or any of that.
Interestingly enough, I did a character boost, and I was over level 60, so I got the 600 skills for the professions, but I didn't actually get the spells within the profession. So I got enchanting, but then I had to spend another couple of 100 gold buying all the different enchanting recipes that I'll never use. But obviously I wanted to buy because I didn't want them just to be in a list somewhere. So it's there are still plenty of gold sinks in the game.
Are you having any? I'm having a little bit of not nostalgia. I'm having some separation anxiety with Pandaria a little bit, and I didn't expect this because I really am fond of the place in lots of ways. I like the tone of it.
I wouldn't say that I'm particularly dreading not seeing Pandaria again.
I mean, you can go back anytime, but
exactly. And I really enjoyed Pandaria. I thought it was a great experience, some fantastic questing. But I wouldn't say that it particularly.
It might be the music for me.
It's got some beautiful music, definitely.
It might be that.
But I mean, so does Warlords, though. Some of the Warlords tunes are amazing.
They're good.
In what was the Blaze Edge Mountains? What's it called? The Black Rock Foundry.
Right. Yeah.
But there's some amazing tunes up in there. And I like I said, I fully recommend that people check them out because. Yeah, so good.
And by the way, if you're looking for two-dimensional villains, Black Hand, look no further. That guy's a douche. I hate that.
Well,
I hate
have you seen the comic? Did you see?
No, I'm going to download it today. In fact, that's funny you should say that.
The comic's quite cool. It actually is weird because it talks more about Doomhammer. And you learn a little bit about the Doomhammer itself. How it was forged, who it was bestowed upon, the great prophecy it carries. All of these stupid stuff. But it's it's certainly one to have a read of, and it's interesting to see because the Lord of War video animations were fantastic. But equally, we've had a really good Gul'dan comic. We've had now this quite good Black Hand comic. It's kind of Orgrim Doomhammer as well. It's nice to see that they're kind of trying to cover off all the bases. Interesting enough, obviously, the kind of the behind the scenes on. Sorry, I'm just got to run away from Galacras. It's fine. It's fine. The behind the scenes.
I love it. I told you, look at you're making these cogent thoughts and things made manifest, and yet still have to run from a boss. This is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's well, I'm sure it's not that coherent. But the Lord of War was originally going to be about Yrel, and I think that's really kind of telling. That when you look at it in terms of they were originally going to make it about Yrel and I think who else was it going to be? Was it going to be about Durotan?
Oh, was
I'm
it?
not sure. But I think it was going to be about basically the kind of the big singers on either side.
Yeah. Well, they didn't do that. I mean, you mean the entire series of Lords of War was going to be all?
Exactly. Yeah. It was going to be just those guys, and then they kind of stumbled across the format, and it all fell into place. And you completely get why they did what they did.
Oh, the format's is insanely good.
Even then, you've got these other warlords that we haven't yet found anything about.
Yep.
And like Ner'zhul is super important.
Yeah.
Ner'zhul is the Lich King.
Yeah.
It's what's going to happen to this guy in this timeline. He was the guy that embodied the armor. Was thrust through the twisting nether by Kil'jaeden. And then, Arthas was the guy that put on his helmet.
It's a big deal. There's a huge legacy there. Yeah.
So we've got Bolvar sat up in the north in the Frozen Throne.
Yeah.
What happens now if we have someone who held that entity before? Can we revisit that place? Is that where we're going to go next? Is this anything or is it nothing? It's
also that feels so big though. I can see why a Lords of War episode wasn't made because that's too big. That's so much story.
Actually, it might not be relevant because do we really need to know about what happened with Ner'zhul when it's basically when the Horde all went wrong?
Yeah.
They had Kil'jaeden got angry and thrust him through the twisting nether and made the Lich King. It's not necessarily relevant to Warlord.
I thought we would have gone deeper on Gul'dan, and I thought that because he's a huge part of everything, but
exactly. I think
they've made him up to be such a little wiener,
No, I think again when you look at Gul'dan in the comic and stuff like that, and equally Gul'dan when you play against him in the game and you have this forever battle against him.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to be someone who's extremely significant when it comes down to the finale, should we say?
You think so?
I think
he's not final boss, but he's going to be a big part of something.
It's instrumental in that final encounter.
Yeah.
You've got to bear in mind that you have a statue in your garrison of Khadgar fighting Gul'dan.
Yeah.
At the end, and previously when we've had statues and stuff like that, it plays a final cinematic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But there's like I said, I think he's always been at the heart of everything really. Gul'dan was the guy who contacted the demons first, who made the orcs drink the blood, who skull Illidan consumed to become a demon. Or a demon hunter, and went to Outlands. His skull powered the dark portal. It's and shut down the dark portal.
They just made him such a cowering little wienerhead in the cinematic.
Craft 3 and in the cinematic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gul'dan gets owned in the Tomb of Sargeras, but armed with that knowledge that he dies or can die in the Tomb of Sargeras, maybe if he doesn't die this time, maybe he can go back to the Tomb of Sargeras.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in there that would be of value to him. I don't know. I think there's, like I said, there's so many cool things they can do off the back of the Deus Ex Machina that is Warlords.
Yeah, starting this all over. You got lots of places you could go.
I think it's a really exciting time. I think it's, like I said, it's interesting because we won't hear anything at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
They're not going to detract from the focus that is WoD and Warlords, and we need to be, they're going to be like, guys, it's out like tomorrow, so really enjoy it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that, that's our big thing to look forward to. But certainly, if they ever do deliver on their long promise of releasing content patches and expansions quicker, maybe we will find out
sooner than later. It would be nice. All right,
would be nice.
That's all very exciting. Let's do one last call. This is about it's about this.
Hey, Scott Terpster and Dills. I just want to say thanks so much for such a wonderful show. It always feels like I'm sitting down with a great group of friends and just laughing and enjoying our favorite subjects.
Thanks, man. That's super nice of you to say. Here's more.
And it's wonderful.
All right. I thought you were just going to stop it there.
My question for the show is, I've been going back to old episodes and came across one where you guys were doing some Trivial Pursuit WoW edition. You guys need to make that a regular segment. That was hilarious. That was one of the most enjoyable episodes to listen to, and that needs to become a regular thing. Thanks so much for the show. Keep up the great work.
Well, ironically enough, I had actually had plans to bring it back.
That's ironic, is it?
Not ironic. Well, it's ironic. It's coincidence. Yeah, you're right. Who am I? That freaking Canadian chick who doesn't know what irony is? What's her name?
I don't know.
Isn't it ironic? Don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
I can't think of her name.
Like rain.
On your wedding day. That's just bad luck.
You wanted a sunny day would be a better example.
That's bad luck. It's like
it's a free ride, but you've already paid. So it's not. Well, it's not, is it? Then that's unfortunate again. There, that's what she's getting confused again with bad luck and.
I think Canadians just don't know what that word means. It's a Canadian thing, is my guess.
Well, I mean, they're very fortunate in that they don't encounter ironic situation within their day-to-day life.
That's right.
Very lucky nation as a whole.
I'm going to bring that back, though, a little bit here and there on the show. I don't know how regular, but it was fun, and it was really fun because just hearing, you've got a lot of lore knowledge, obviously, and there's a lot of questions in there like that. But
no, I've read a lot, but I don't remember a lot. That's my biggest problem. Is I very much enjoy the lore.
You're no problem with consumption. It's all retention with you.
It's retention, exactly. Retention is my key issue that I have. I would love to be more retained.
Yeah, wouldn't we all?
I feel I'm retarded and not retained. So.
Brilliant. All right, that's gonna do it. Actually, I'm gonna read one email.
So I thought we were going to get some Trivial Pursuit. I was excited.
No, I don't have it ready. I got to find it. Actually, when I moved, I lost.
You had the call ready, but not the box.
Yeah, I cannot find the freaking box. It's somewhere.
That's ironic.
Yeah, that is kind of ironic. Actually, maybe it isn't. Daryl wrote in and says, listening to your podcast, you commented that you never hear from people who never leave the game to get their information. I am one of those. I listen to your podcast because I can do it on a daily train ride into Manhattan. I love that you talked about some lore ideas. I wish you had talked about more about the lore itself. As you say, is this or in this show time before the expansion, covering lore would be great. Why not do it on your show? Says Daryl. I love talking about lore, and we've done a ton of that today. But there's some value in the idea that, well, let's say there's a slow WoW week, some week or whatever, for us to kind of put together more conversation regarding specific lore points.
Yeah, because, I mean, basically all that happens when we end up talking about the lore is we just end up theory crafting and just guessing like, oh my God, what does this mean?
Yeah.
And more often than not, we're completely wrong.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to your own choice of preferred entertainment, whether or not you'd like to hear some ramblings and random thoughts, or what, really, I guess.
Ramblings, exactly. Those are the things. Those are the things.
Sorry, he's just Iron Juggernauts. He's just preparing a shock pulse. Okay.
Oh, good.
So let's be careful now, guys.
Yeah, that fight. I hear. So everything I've heard from my raid team, because I didn't raid Thursday, but since post patch, everything is made out of paper, and the Siege of Orgrimmar is a freaking cakewalk now. Is that true?
Not on LFR really. All the other LFRs are really easy. Siege, I think, is been harder. Than previous.
Maybe it's just flex raid. I don't know, because it just seemed they were all flex, just like it was so
flex,
easy.
The balance post squish is really tricky because they've got new modes and they've got squish. Oh, don't worry, guys, we downed him. Iron Juggernaut's down.
Nice job.
And I got a power core.
No way.
Nice.
Put that in your cheese and smoke
held
it.
in the offhand. Oh, that's a shame. I've got two hand. Anywho, yeah, I think it's not too much harder, but it's not too much easier. But the other, I ran Throne of Thunder earlier and killed Horidon, whatever the the big dinosaur's name is within 2 smashes of the gates.
Oh, good lord!
You know, like rather than smashing all 4 gates, just smash 2 and then he was dead.
Yeah.
So
we are at that stage, folks. This is you know, we're farming everything now.
Just like the item level. Yeah, who knows?
Sure. All right. Still looking forward, although I haven't got confirmation from PR yet, but we're supposed to be having Corey Stockton on the show soon. I'm hoping it's next week, so you guys can hear from him on this sort of lead up to the big expansion. So that's something to look forward to on the show. And hopefully we'll have some time for some more video content when the new expansion comes out and some other things. So watch for all that.
Definitely. Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Brilliant. It is the end of the show, everybody. Thanks for being here. Don't forget, you can follow us at theinstance.net. All the show's archives and links and everything are there. Big thanks to Paul Swickard for keeping track of our web stuff. We really appreciate it. You can find us on Twitter at @the_T. Willie Dills, when not winning the World Series, is at Willie Dills. Actually, I guess he's always there.
And he's not actually himself winning the World Series.
No. He's
probably could, though.
No,
he's a big fan.
He could, but Willie. Also, me at Scott Johnson.
Fields.
You can find... See? There's the joke. At Instant Show for the show. Our theme was created by Matthew Oxley. We love it. More shows like this at frogpants.com. It's going to do it for us, for me, for Terpster, and for the celebrating Dills. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye! Amazing. Top bananas, man.
Right? It's good stuff.
Very thoroughly enjoyable. I'm going to go kill 2 shaman and then I'm going to log off.
Well, that sounds like a good Friday night to me. Well, thanks, dude. That was good. That was awesome. Cool. We should. Do you know if? So I was trying to put together a little podcast or celebrity-ish team of HOTS players. Do you know if it's region locked? I don't know how they're doing it in that game.
Yeah.
Damn
it's US and Europe. I mean, obviously, you can just right-click on the client and change, but it just comes down to obviously buying characters.
Depends on who's where and where your characters are at.
They are exactly. I mean, like for example, you know, I'd be happy to buy a character and level up a character.
Yeah.
But you know, managing 2 rosters would be a financial nightmare.
It's a challenge, and a free-to-play game. Now that's ironic. That's irony there.
That's ironic. It's a very expensive game and it's free. That is ironic.
And isn't that ironic? All right. Have a great day, dude. And how's Liz? Everyone good? All is well?
Yeah. Ticking on.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Baby bump getting bigger every day.
Yeah. Bigger. Definitely.
I'm stoked.
Yes.
I cannot wait till you're a dad. Yeah. I'm so excited about this. I don't know why.
I just hope it waits till after BlizzCon. That's all I care about. And it should.
Yeah. It should.
There's no reason why, you know, should be a baby before BlizzCon.
Right.
But,
and if there are bigger issues at hand. But
it's that sort of thing. I think you just get a rational fear kind of as it kind of goes deeper into kind of getting closer.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, well, I'm away from the country for a week.
Yeah.
So quite clearly that is when it will happen. Oh God, no.
When you have a human being you're in charge of that's small and vulnerable, suddenly all the fears you never had when you were in your 20s, they all melt away.
Exactly. But I think once said human being's a bit older and can manage a rotation, I think then it's gonna be brilliant. You know,
are you gonna farm? Are you gonna have her farm gold? It's a she, right? It's a she.
Yeah, she, exactly. And I think the problem I have is like my fishing skills like at like 42, and that's quite easy to do fishing. So I'm hoping that once she's able to kind of hold a mouse and stuff like that, she can fish.
So
that'd
excited,
be good.
Man! A little British accent, little girl, little
I know,
daddy's girl.
Oh,
it's so exciting. Good. I can't wait. I cannot freaking wait. And Kim says hi. She just waved at me.
Okay. Oh, say hello to her for me.
I will. Okay. Have a good day. We'll talk to you soon.
And you, sir.
All
and
right.
you. Have a good one. Cheerio.
Bye-bye. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us and enjoying this along with us. We'll be back on the air tonight with Current Geek, with guest John Kovalik of Munchkin fame and Len Peralta of Geek a Week fame and other things. They'll be on, be a big artist roundtable, except for Tom, but he's a kind of an artist in his own way. He's a sandwich artist, really. So be here for that. That'll be live at 5 p.m. Mountain Time Zone. That's 4 Pacific and 7 Eastern tonight. And I suspect it will be a good one. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us. And chat room, you guys are great. We love you guys. I need to be checking the chat room more often. I just have so many things I got to watch, so many dials and buttons and nubs that I forget to pay attention to you guys as much as I'd like to. But you guys are great. We'll talk to you guys soon as well. Bye now, everyone.